Glories all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we will read from chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse number 29. Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mahite teshu chapyaham. A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Repeat. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So sometimes people, they think that Krishna is cruel at times, that he is very much partial. He doesn't know how to deal equally with everyone. Sometimes he deals favorably, sometimes he deals unfavorably. This was an important question that Shukadev Maharaj answered for Parikshit Maharaj. As you know, Parikshit Maharaj was the grandson of Arjun. He was the son of Abhimanyu. And when he was the king of this whole planet, he was cursed to die within 7 days. So upon hearing of this curse, he immediately went to the banks of the Ganges. And there was a very august assembly of sages. And amongst them, they chose Shukadev Goswami, who was the son of Vedavyas, the compiler of all the Vedic literatures, to actually be their spokesman and to answer King Parikshit's inquiries. So King Parikshit asked exemplary questions, and Shukadev Maharaj, he gave exemplary answers. And this is what the whole Srimad Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Puran comprises. So one of the questions that was puzzling Parikshit Maharaj is that you have narrated already to me so many stories, he told Sukadev Maharaj, and on each time we see that the Lord has taken the sides of the Devatas and he has always killed the demons, or he has killed the Asuras. As far as the Lord is concerned, he is in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. Therefore he should not distinguish between who is a Devata and who is a Danav, or who is a demigod or who is a demon. He should not distinguish. So why is it that he is becoming partial? King Parikshit's inquiry came specifically after Shukadev Maharaj had narrated to him an episode in which the Lord had himself taken the side of Indra and had vanquished the demons. So Shukadev Maharaj answers that no, the Lord is always impartial, I beg your pardon. It may only seem that he is impartial, but factually, for one who understands him carefully, he is always impartial. He deals with everyone perfectly. Just like, for example, if you go to a shop. Now there are a variety of goods available in the shop for different prices, different qualities of goods for different prices. If you are willing to pay a lesser amount, the shopkeeper will give you an item of lesser quality, inferior quality. If you are willing to pay a higher price, he will give you some goods of superior quality. So, if you get some inferior goods or superior goods for paying a lower or a higher price, you cannot blame the shopkeeper for being partial. He is not discriminating. He is simply giving you in return what you have given him. So similarly, the law of karma works like that. The actions that we perform in life, or the activity, the karma, that is our currency, by which we are purchasing our happiness or our sufferings in this world. Nothing can come free of cost. In other words, no reaction can come upon us unless we have already purchased it. What does it mean? It means that if something good or bad is happening to us, it means that it is simply happening because of certain good or bad actions that we ourselves have done in the past. We may not know when we have done it. We may not know how we have done it. We may not know to whom we have done it, in what circumstances we did it, in this life, the previous life, or when, we do not know. But we have done it. So just like the customer pays some money and gets the appropriate quality and quantity of goods, similarly, we have our karma coming back to us. So we should not think that Krishna is being partial to some. When someone is suffering, he thinks God is very cruel. And when someone is enjoying, if he is a devotee or if he is at least inclined towards faith in God, he thinks God is very kind. But the fact is that God is very kind in all circumstances. God is not only kind when he gives you all kinds of material facilities and material benefits. God is also kind when he puts you in material calamities, when he gives you material difficulties. That is faith. Faith means to understand that Lord Krishna is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the well-wisher of everyone. Therefore, he will not do anything to us that is not for our benefit. Although, when we are in material consciousness, this fact is very, very difficult to accept because of our material attachments. But nevertheless, we should know the fact that we are simply, the whole nature, material nature is working according to the law of karma, and we are getting exactly what we deserve, however harsh it may sound. The law of karma is a law of nature. If a child puts his finger in the fire, he is going to get burnt. The fire doesn't see whether it's a small child, innocent child. He doesn't know what is fire and what is not fire. Similarly, the law of karma doesn't distinguish a rich man, poor man, educated, uneducated. Everyone is within the clutches of this law of karma. So therefore, we should not judge our happiness or our distress in terms of God being cruel or God being very kind. Another example. Suppose there is a high court judge. Now in his court, he is every day hearing the cases of so many criminals. And let us say there is a murderer who comes to his court. He sentences him to death after having heard the whole case. Now, is the judge responsible for his death, the criminal's death? It is only the criminal who has brought upon himself this particular situation. The judge is merely an agent. He is merely implementing the laws of the state. He is not implicated. He is not involved in the whole thing. He is not responsible for the actions that the criminal performs, neither the reaction. He is simply acting as an agent. Similarly, we should know that even in this material creation, there are laws. We may know it or we may not know it, but these laws will act upon us. And just as for any law you need someone who can implement it, we have the police force, we have the judiciary, so many departments are there. Similarly, in the universal administration also, Lord Krishna has many ministers. Who are those ministers? Yes? The demigods or the devatas. And there is one devata who is the minister of law and justice. Who is that? Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is the minister of law and justice in this particular universe. So he is dispensing our karma, our karmic reactions according to our karma. So therefore we can see that Krishna is aloof from all this business. He is simply acting through his agent. If I commit a theft and I am punished for it, I cannot accuse Mr. Narasimha Rao of being partial or impartial towards me. Huh? Although the police force and the judiciary is acting ultimately under him, but still we should know that he is aloof. He is not directly involved in coming and meting out the punishment. Similarly, although everything is going according to the instructions of Krishna, under his superintendence, Mayadhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam, yet he is aloof and his agents are dispensing justice perfectly. Justice is perfect in the laws of God, in the kingdom of God, even here in this material world. It may appear to some people that, oh, this person, he's living such a sinful life and he's enjoying. This was in fact the question that Parikshit Maharaj asked. He said, the Shishupal, who is your cousin, he's talking about Lord Krishna's cousin Shishupal. He said Shishupal was so envious of Lord Krishna. Right from childhood, ever since he was a small boy, he was continuously blaspheming Krishna, always criticizing him at every conceivable opportunity. And in fact, when Shishupal was born, the astrologer predicted that he will be killed by Krishna. So the mother of Shishupal went hurriedly to Krishna and she got a boon from him, that please promise me that you will never kill my son. So Krishna said, I promise you on one condition. I will allow him to blaspheme me up to 100 times. When he crosses 100, then I will have to kill him. So she said, all right. So Shishupal used to always criticize more and more. But he never reached the figure of 100. So he was always saved. So Parikshit Maharaj, in fact Yudhishthir Maharaj was perplexed. If anyone criticizes the Lord, it is said in the scriptures that he has to suffer terribly. He has to go to the hellish planets. He may even get leprosy and so many karmic reactions. But we see that Shishupal, in the open assembly of the Rajasuya Yagya that Yudhishthir Maharaj performed, when he was going on blaspheming Lord Krishna was smiling and tolerating till the 100th insult. When he crossed the 100th insult, his Sudarshan Chakra flew from his hand and cut off Shishupal's head. And in front of everyone, the soul of Shishupal came out of Shishupal's body and everyone was watching. And as they were watching, it came and entered into Lord Krishna's body. So everyone was wonderstruck. And therefore Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, how is it possible? A person like Shishupal, who is so envious of Krishna, his soul is going and entering to Lord Krishna's body, when actually he should be going to hell. So what is this? I don't understand. Sometimes Lord Krishna appears to be so cruel to his devotees, and sometimes he is like this. To someone who should be going to hell, he actually accepts that person's soul within his body. So in this way, we are perplexed. We don't understand. So we can see that envy is something that is a quality that is vitiating the consciousness of the conditioned soul. Krishna doesn't have any envious mentality. Krishna says here, Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am seeing everyone equally. Name dvesho sthina priyaha. The word dvesha. Dvesh means envy. We envy others. Even if he is our friend or our relative, sometimes the feeling of envy may come about in our heart. But Krishna can never be envious, because these are crude qualities. Krishna is beyond this material nature. Qualities like lust, greed, anger, envy, pride, illusion, these are contaminations that come over or overcome the soul, the pure soul, when somehow or the other he comes into contact with this material energy. The pure soul doesn't have all these qualities. It is only when he comes into contact with material energy that he is overwhelmed by all these qualities. Now Krishna is all pure. He is far beyond this material nature. He can never be contaminated. When we start serving Krishna, in fact, it is only then that our material qualities, they start getting purified. So if we want to get rid of our envy, our pride, our greed, anger, lust, illusion, then we must start coming into contact with Lord Krishna through his devotional service, by chanting his name, by serving his deity, by reading his instructions, by chanting his glories, by associating with his devotees, so many different ways. So we can see that when by associating with Lord Krishna in so many different ways, even the lowest of the sinners is getting purified and becoming free from envy, how is it possible that Lord Krishna, who is the purifying agent, himself can be full of envy? That's not possible. We can see in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna declares, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Panditaha Samadarshanaha. He says a person who is a learned sage, who has understood, who is self-realized, he sees all with an equal vision. The cow, the dog eater, the Brahman, everyone he sees equally because he's seeing the soul within. And therefore such a person is called a Panditaha, because he is Samadarshana. He sees everyone equally. So Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. So when even an ordinary Jivatma, when he becomes self-realized, he becomes Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, he sees everyone equally, then how much more so Krishna will be Samadarshana? How much more so Krishna will be impartial for everyone? How is it possible that Krishna can be unnecessarily cruel to someone or not cruel to anyone? Krishna is always kind to one and all. It is only because of lack of faith in our part that we see Krishna's actions or dealings in our life as being cruel. But actually, whatever he is doing is perfect for us. This is a question of faith. And that faith comes when we render devotional service. So therefore we can see Lord Krishna is saying here, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho sthina priyaha. That I am equal to all, I envy no one, and I favor no one, I am partial to no one. But he uses one word in the next line, tu. Tu means but. Having declared that I am impartial and I favor no one and I am not envious of anyone, but whenever you hear the word but, immediately you are cautious, isn't it? You ask somebody, I have loaned you some money, now will you return it? Yes, definitely I will return it, but immediately you are cautious. But now finish, now I don't know. So immediately when someone sees the word tu, but, now what is he going to say? He's already said that he is impartial, that he's not partial. Now but what? Let us see. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. He says, although I am impartial, yet when it comes to my devotees, then I am also a friend to him. Because he is a friend to me, therefore I am a friend to him. Therefore I am partial to him. Now this is surprising. You may say, just see, Lord Krishna is famous for breaking his promise. Last time we discussed that, isn't it? How Lord Krishna promised that he would not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. And yet to save his devotee, he lifted up the wheel of the chariot and came running towards Bhishma to attack him. And he broke his own promise. And that's what it appears Lord Krishna is doing right now. Someone may question, just see, he has not even waited for the next shloka contradict himself. He's doing it in the same shloka. First two lines he's saying, I'm impartial, I envy no one, I favor no one, but I'm partial to my devotees. So what's the meaning of this impartiality? So is he really impartial or is he not impartial? So what is the meaning of saying that I am partial to my devotees? Can someone explain? Why does he say this? Having immediately said, and I am impartial, immediately he says, I am impartial to my devotees. Why does he say this? Can anyone say this? Answer? Therefore? No. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. O Arjuna, as one surrenders to me, I reciprocate accordingly and I reward him in reciprocation. In other words, if you want to be Krishna's devotee, Krishna says, alright, I will accept your love and I will also reciprocate. If you want to be my enemy, alright, I will also take the role of your enemy, whatever you like. So we should not question why Krishna is becoming this person's friend, because he wants to be his friend. Krishna says, he wants to be my friend, so I'm also becoming his friend. So why are you envious? If you want me to become your friend, you become my friend and then I will become your friend. Simple. So is there partiality here? So although Krishna says, I am my devotee's friend, but anyone can become his devotee. There is no barrier. It is not that only people who are learned can become devotees. There is no material impediment in becoming Krishna's devotee. So if you want to simply become Krishna's friend, Krishna says, I will also become your friend. And if you want to become my best friend, I will also become your best friend. How friendly do you want to become to Krishna? That much friendly Krishna will become with you. So it's simply the question of reciprocation. Reciprocation means to give and take. This is personality, personalist philosophy. The bhakti philosophy is personalist philosophy. Natvevaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadhipaha. Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that, O Arjuna, all the assembled kings, soldiers, including you and me, there is never a time when we did not exist, and nor will there be a time in the future when we will cease to exist. We have always existed as individuals and we will always exist in the future as individuals. So individuality is an eternal quality of the soul. And therefore, how much more should Lord Krishna also eternally be an individual? Of course, the personality of Lord Krishna is not a limited personality like our personality. Therefore, when we say that Lord Krishna is ultimately a person, we should not think that Lord Krishna is a limited, finite, defective person like us. Lord Krishna is the supreme person. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the unlimited person. His personality is completely spiritual. The Jivatma is also a person, Krishna is also a person. When you have persons, two persons, there is a relationship. When you talk of a relationship, there is give and take, there is reciprocation. The impersonalists, people who consider that God has no form, ultimately God is formless, ultimately the Jivatma doesn't have any individuality, ultimately the Jivatma simply merges and extinguishes his individuality, they cannot understand this wonderful reciprocation that goes on between the devotee and the Lord. Therefore, it is only from the point of view of this personalist understanding of bhakti philosophy can we understand clearly why somebody is a devotee and why somebody is an atheist. Without understanding that the devotee is a person and Krishna is a person and that the relationship between them is one of devotion, we cannot understand how somebody is forgetful of God and how somebody is always remembering God. So the word reciprocation, give and take, is the key phrase in Krishna's dealings with all his parts and parcels. Not only his devotees, but even his non-devotees. You see, we make a distinction, devotee and non-devotee. But for Krishna, everyone is his part and parcel. All the Jivatmas are his children. Krishna says, Aham bija pradahapita, I am the seed-giving father of all. A father doesn't distinguish between one child and the other. All his children, he loves them equally. The children may not love the father. One child may love the father more than another child. But the Father loves everyone equally. Similarly, Krishna doesn't make a distinction. He is simply dealing with each person as that person wants to deal with him. So this is reciprocation. And that is how we can understand this shloka. And that is how we should understand Lord Krishna's feeling of equality. So therefore Lord Krishna says, for one who wants to become my devotee, my friend, I become his friend. So the word bhajanti is very important here. You see, there are certain words in Sanskrit which cannot be exactly translated into English. For example, the term dharma. Sometimes people, they translate the word dharma as religion. Sometimes it is translated as occupation. It's very difficult to translate, to get the exact shade of meaning. Similarly, the word bhaja or bhajanti, very difficult to translate very accurately. Sometimes the word bhajan or bhajati or bhaja is used by some commentators to imply worship. But actually bhaja or bhajanti is much more than worship. Bhajan or to bhajati means puja. For example, if some very exalted person comes to your house, if the minister comes to your house, you will receive him very nicely. You will receive him with great pomp and splendor. So this is a matter of etiquette. This is called worship. This is called respect. But there is no love here necessarily. It is simply a matter of custom and good manners. But love is not simply a matter of good manners. Love is beyond that. So the word bhaja or bhajanti means to serve with love. So the word bhajanti actually means to render devotional service or bhakti. That is the meaning of the real word bhaja. So Lord Krishna says, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. For one who becomes my devotee and for one who renders service to me, I become his friend. So you see, there is no question of love without any service. Correct? Whenever there is love, there must be service. There is no meaning to love without service. And of course, at this moment, we do not have love for God. So even if we simply start serving, that love will come. Although there is no love, but you serve God and that love will develop. How this love will develop, we will discuss perhaps some other time. But the important point is Lord Krishna says that there must be love. When there is love, then automatically this reciprocation becomes very sweet. It becomes very relishable. And this is in fact the constitutional relationship between the Jivatma and Krishna. It is one of love. It is only when we forget that relationship that we are in so much of illusion and trying to establish and find satisfaction in so many other temporary relationships of this world. So Lord Krishna says that for one who has become my devotee, Lord Krishna says, I also reciprocate. And how? In what a wonderful way Lord Krishna reciprocates. What does he say? If you become my devotee, what does Lord Krishna say? Yes? What's the reciprocation? That's what Krishna says. Just see. Krishna says, you surrender to me, I will surrender to you. You give everything up for me, I will give my everything to you. This is Krishna. This is how great Krishna is. If somebody comes to us and surrenders to us, or he offers us respect, we like it very much. Yeah, yes, just see how great I am. If somebody gives us something, we like to accept. But Krishna is saying, if somebody gives me everything, I give my everything to him. What is Krishna's everything? Everything. But what is our everything? How much do we have to give anyway? Krishna, so when Krishna gives his everything to us, we can imagine how much Krishna is sacrificing. Sometimes when we come to bhakti, we may give up our family, we may give up our money, we may give up our job, we may give up our this or that, and we feel, oh, I have given up so much for Krishna. I have given up my everything for Krishna. How much is that everything? Insignificant. It was not ours in the first place. But Krishna, everything is his. And Krishna says, I am willing to give up my everything to one who has given up his everything. This is the meaning of reciprocation. So therefore we can see that Krishna says, Mai te teshu chapyaham. That for a person who has given his everything, I become his devotee actually. And I relate to him in this mood of loving transcendental devotional service. So there are many, many stories in the scriptures of how Lord Krishna gives himself up to his devotees. In fact, Lord Krishna becomes so helpless that he pleads that I cannot, in fact, you have given me so much that even my everything is insufficient to pay you back for your everything. The most exalted example of the devotees, the greatest devotees of Lord Krishna are the gopis of Vrindavan. The gopis are very much misunderstood. The relationship between the gopis and Krishna is much misunderstood by those who don't have devotion, by those who don't have spiritual knowledge. People think that the relationship between the gopis and Krishna is just a mundane relationship, just like that seen between a man and woman in this world. Nothing can be further than the truth. The relationship between the gopis and Krishna is completely a spiritual relationship. It is in the platform of pure, selfless spiritual love. What is called love in this material world is not love at all. But the gopis are the highest example of the love for Krishna. So, these gopis, their love was so great that Krishna, he tells, I find that I have nothing left to return to you. And you are giving me more and more still. And now I find that my pockets are empty. My coffers are empty. And nothing is left for me to give to you now. So what can I do? So please understand, I am helpless now. Your love is so great that you have conquered me by your love. So I cannot repay you now. So please consider that your only repayment is the service that you are rendering to me. Let that be your only repayment, because at least I am not in a position to repay you anymore. This is the position of Krishna. And this is the way that Krishna's devotee, by this process of reciprocation, actually becomes greater than the Lord. Just see, those who are following the impersonalist path, they try to become one with God. But Krishna's devotees never desire to become one with the Lord. They always want to be Krishna's servant. But because they want to be Krishna's servant, Krishna makes them more powerful than him. He makes them greater than him. This is the greatness of God. The greatness of a person can be understood by how humble he is willing to become. Isn't it? That is the real criterion. So Krishna is becoming so humble that he says, I am helpless now. You are everything. So in this way, for one who is always seeing Krishna everywhere out of love, Krishna says, I will never be lost to that person. In fact, in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati tasya aham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. He says, for one who sees me everywhere and for one who sees everything in me, what happens? I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. What is the meaning of this? The meaning is that such a person will always see Krishna everywhere. You see, although a pure devotee of the Lord, he sees the different manifestations of material nature. He will see this table, he will see the fan, he will see the lights. He sees apparently all these separate manifestations of nature. But actually, he is seeing only Krishna everywhere. How? Because he understands that everything is simply a manifestation of Krishna's energy. And therefore, in this way, he is always seeing Krishna. Srila Prabhupada would explain it in this way, that supposing there is someone that you love very much, if you see his spectacles, you will say, oh, this is my friend's spectacle. By seeing the spectacle, you remember the owner of the spectacle, isn't it? Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. Therefore, a pure devotee of the Lord who understands this fact very well, whatever he sees, he thinks of Krishna. So he sees Krishna everywhere, although apparently he appears to see the various different forms of things in this world. But actually, he is simply getting reminded of Krishna at every moment, everywhere. So Lord Krishna says, this person is always seeing me, and therefore I am also never lost to him. Not only is he never lost to me, but I am also never lost to him. Suppose you lend, since we are talking about lending money, suppose you lend money to somebody, you will never let him out of his sight, isn't it? You are seeing him everywhere, correct? Everywhere you go, you want to see him. Make sure he doesn't run away, correct? But what about that person? Does he want to remain seen? He wants to be away from you, isn't it? So although you want to see him all the time, but he doesn't want to be seen by you all the time, so he tries to run away. and then you try to catch him and make sure that he's there, isn't it? But Krishna says, don't worry. This kind of thing won't happen. If you are seeing me everywhere, then I will also make sure that I don't disappear from your sight. I will also be with you. I will never run away. And I will be there. And not only that, I will also see you at every moment. Just as you are seeing me at every moment, I will also begin to see you at every moment. This is reciprocation. Our goal of life is to always remember Krishna. Is it not? There are so many rules and regulations in our Krishna in our literatures, in our Vedas, in our Puranas, Upanishads. But the essence of them is to always think of God. Because at the time of death, you will be tested according to what you are remembering. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. O son of Kunti, whatever you think of at the time of death, that state you will attain after death. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra sanshayaha. If you're thinking of me at the time of death, Lord Krishna says, you will come back to my abode. So thinking of Krishna at the time of death is the perfection of life. How can you think of Krishna at the time of death? Only if you're thinking of Krishna all the time when you are living. So therefore it is said in the Padma Purana, Smartavya satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na jatuchit Sarve vidhi nishedasyur etayo eva kinkaraha. It says that Smartavya satatam Vishnu, to always remember Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Vismartavyo na jatuchit, to never forget Lord Vishnu or Krishna. These two fundamental principles, what about them? Sarve vidhi nishedasyur. Vidhi nished means all the rules and regulations of the scriptures. What are they? Etayor eva kinkaraha. Kinkar means servant. So all the rules and regulations of the Shastra are simply meant to fulfill, to bring us to the platform of fulfilling these two rules and regulations. What are they? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So remember all the rules and regulations. The effectiveness of that will come when you understand, is it helping me to remember Krishna or not? Is it protecting me from forgetting Krishna or not? So the goal of our life is to always think of Krishna with love and devotion. This is our effort. This is what we must try. So therefore, we are trying through so many ways to try to remember Krishna, but it's so difficult. Even when we sit to chant the holy names in our japa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Even when we're chanting, it is so difficult to keep Krishna in the mind. The mind is always wandering, going all over, going on a world tour. And all the things that you have thought of in the day, what he has spoken to me, what he should not have done, what I should not have done, everything comes into your mind just at the time when you try to think of Krishna. When you're doing something else, then there's no problem. But when you try to think of Krishna, so difficult. So can you imagine how difficult it is to think of Krishna? But what about those pure devotees? The pure devotees, the situation is exactly the opposite. Since we're talking about the gopis being the most exalted devotees of Krishna, there was this instance of this one gopi who was sitting in meditation in Padmasana under a tree. As you know, the gopis have nothing to do with this Dhyana Yoga system of meditation. In fact, when Lord Krishna, he was speaking to Uddhav, and Uddhav was his cousin. And Uddhava was thinking, I am such a nice devotee of Krishna. I am the best devotee. So Krishna wanted to teach him, what is the real devotee? Who is my best devotee? So on some pretext, he sent Uddhav to Vrindavan, that please convey this message to the gopis. So Uddhav went on a message thinking that he was taking Krishna's message to the gopis. And when he went to the gopis, he was giving them so much knowledge about how they should always meditate on Krishna and how they should do this and that. He was preaching to Krishna so much of Gyan and everything. So the gopis told him, Uddhav, we have nothing to do with all this Gyan, Karma, Dhyan and everything. Don't preach to us to meditate. Because that is not our business. We have nothing to do. We are only thinking of Krishna. We have no business with all these other forms of yoga and everything. So given this background, what was this one gopi sitting under a tree in Dhyan, in perfect back erect, sitting with cross-legged? So another gopi asked her, my dear friend, what are you doing? Don't you know the Brajvasis, they never meditate like this. What are you doing? So she says, this Krishna, he's such an irresponsible person. He has stolen our hearts. We have given our everything away to him. And he has left us and gone to Mathura. And now he is enjoying in Mathura. And now I'm heard that he has also gone to Dwarka. He will become a big king over there. So I don't want to think of Krishna now. I want to forget Krishna. But somehow or the other, I'm not able to forget Krishna. So I'm sitting in meditation, trying to push him out of my mind. But see, what a situation that is just not possible. I'm trying to forget him, but I'm not able to do it. Because he's refusing to go from my heart. He's continuing to remain there. Just like in the trains, when someone gets hold of a seat in the suburban trains, whatever you may do, he will never let go. There are certain very strategic positions in the train, especially in the direction opposite to the movement, where there is breeze, near the door, near the window. So people occupy all these strategic positions, and people try to maneuver and somehow push, pull to get into that position. But he's always firmly fixed. Whatever you may try, he will never move from that position. So Gopi is thinking, I'm trying to dislodge him from my heart. So much effort I'm putting with all my attention, I'm focusing. Come on, go outside my heart, but he's refusing to go. When Krishna catches hold of something, he refuses to let go. So when Krishna, he catches hold of our heart, then he doesn't go, he remains there. That is the meaning of that verse, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. So Lord Krishna said, this is the meaning of this bhajanti. And that is why he says, Mahite Teshu Chapyaham. That means for one who is seeing me everywhere, I will also be visible to him. And I will also make sure that I am visible to him at all times. And later on also, if that person doesn't want me to be visible, too bad. I will continue to be visible to him. Therefore, one gopi is telling another gopi that look, don't go to that place where Krishna is playing the flute. Why? If you value your material life, if you value your material relationships, if you value all the things of this world, then you better not go there. Because the moment you go there, you will lose all these things. So if you value, then don't go. So similarly, anyone who's come into Krishna consciousness, if you value the things of this world, then don't come to Radha Gopinath temple. Because very soon, Krishna will also come in your heart. And then you will lose all your interest in the things of this world. But even if you have some desire, please do come. We all have some desires in the heart. It is not that the desires go away immediately. It takes a long time. The process of purification is very, very gradual. So this is the perfect love that we are seeking, the perfect reciprocation. In this material world, everyone is seeking love, isn't it? It is a basic propensity of the Jivatma to want love, because his constitutional position is that he is reciprocating in love with Krishna. So because we are now forgotten Krishna, so we are seeking love in the people of this world, in the things of this world. And somehow or the other we find that all the relationships that we try to strike up here in this world are ultimately frustrating. The love of this world is very frustrating, because sometimes there is no reciprocation. So many times it happens. All the movies, all the novels, the film magazines, they're all full of love, so-called love, that is not reciprocated. Isn't it? The hero, he loves somebody, but she doesn't love him. Isn't it? So he's heartbroken and then he sings a song. Isn't it? Isn't that what always happens? Everywhere we find unfulfilled love. So many times people commit suicide because they love somebody, but that person doesn't love them. So there is no reciprocation. But Krishna says, don't worry. I will reciprocate with you. So Krishna is the perfect lover. Don't seek your love among people of this world, because you will be frustrated. Seek your love in Krishna and you will find perfect love. This is Krishna. So therefore we should know that Krishna's dealings are very perfect. He is very kind. And whatever you do, Krishna says, I am there. I am always there. Don't worry. So this is another guarantee that Krishna is giving. Just see. Last 5 or 6 Wednesdays, we have been practically on a similar theme. What is that theme that we have been discussing last 5 or 6 Wednesdays? Worry. Don't worry when you come to Krishna. Krishna is giving us assurances that you will only be the gainer. You will never lose when you come to Krishna. Everything you have will be protected. You will gain only, you will never lose. So again Krishna says, once more, the same thing. See how often, from so many different angles, in so many different ways, Krishna is trying to reassure us that just come to me and you will never regret. Don't worry. You will never lose. So here also Krishna says, you love others, you will always regret. You love me, you will never regret. So just come towards me and you will always be the gainer. And therefore we see in the films, sometimes when there is a young boy, young girl, they fall in love with each other, so-called love. And then all the parents come in the way and they decide, because the world is interfering with us, therefore we will commit suicide and we will become eternal together. We will live eternally together. Does this happen? What happens? Probably in his next life, the boy may take some body, some animal body, giraffe on earth, and the other girl may take some other body in some other planet. So where is this love? It's all a myth. It's all illusion. But Krishna says, no. My love will be perfect. If you love me, then even death will not part us. But the love of this world, death will always part it. Everything in this world will be parted. This is the reality. So therefore we should know that this is Krishna's mercy, that He is giving us this opportunity to develop that perfect love where you will never be frustrated. So we should know what is the perfection of our life. Perfection of our life is to develop that perfect loving relationship. That is the perfect love. And if we simply do that, then we are established in our constitutional position. And just see, when it comes to His love, Krishna is so impartial that actually He liberates even the Asuras. You know, you have heard of Putana? When Krishna was playing the role of a small child in Vrindavan, a great demoness called Putana was sent by Kansa, because Kansa wanted to kill Krishna. Kansa considered that Krishna is going to be the cause of my death. Therefore, somehow or the other, I must try to kill him. So he sent so many different asuras and rakshasas to Vraja for the sake of killing Krishna. And the first the asura he sent was Putana. So Putana came in the form of a very, very beautiful young lady. And she approached Mother Yashoda and said, I also want to feed Krishna. He's such a nice boy and such a nice child. Let me take him for some time. Mother Yashoda was so much overwhelmed in love for Krishna. And she said, okay, you can take, because all the Brajabasis would come and fondle Krishna and they were all in great love for Krishna. So Putana took Krishna away and then she was feeding him milk. And she had applied poison to her breast and she was feeding him. And Krishna, because he understood Krishna is there in Putana's heart also. So while he drank the milk, he also sucked the very life air out of Putana and killed her. And what happened to Putana? Do you know the destination Putana achieved? She was liberated. She went back to the kingdom of God and she took upon a position similar to Krishna's mother. That was the position that Putana got. So therefore this is bewildering. How is that possible? Just see. You see, in the last life, Putana was actually the sister of Bali Maharaj, the King Bali Maharaj. You know the story of Vamanadev? King Bali Maharaj, in his court, the Lord came as Lord Vamanadev, the dwarf Brahman. And he asked him for 3 steps of land. And Bali Maharaj's guru said, don't give it because he is Vishnu. He is going to take everything away from you. So then Bali Maharaj replied, what kind of guru are you? If he is Vishnu and he has come to take everything, so I will give everything. So he told Vamanadev that you ask me for anything, and Vamanadev asked only for 3 steps of land. And King Bali chided him. He said, you don't know what to ask for also. I am the king of the whole planet, of the whole 3 worlds. But Vamanadev said, no, I am satisfied with only 3 steps of land. So when she first saw this small child, the sister of Bali Maharaj, she was very much overwhelmed with love because he was such a beautiful child. He came as a Bala Brahmachari. And he was so beautiful that her heart flowed with affection and she felt, I want to also feed him. I want to become like his mother. But when Bali Maharaj took 3 steps, first step he covered the whole earth, second step he covered the whole material world, and the third step was left. And he told Bali Maharaj, now where should I keep the third step? You are not keeping your promise. Bali Maharaj said, no, I will keep my promise. And he offered his head. My Lord, please keep your foot on my head, and I give my everything to you. So when Bali Maharaj's sister saw what Vamandev had done, immediately she became very angry. She said, oh, I wish I could kill this child with poison. Because he had taken everything away from her brother. So in the next life, she got a chance to fulfill both desires. Just see how Krishna is perfect and how he fulfills everyone's desires. So she got a chance to act like a mother because she breastfed him. At the same time, she got a chance to try to kill him because she had poison. But of course, who can kill Krishna? And because Krishna is equal to all, therefore he sees the good in everyone. He saw that Putana has come as my mother. Therefore, she deserves to take on the position of my mother in my abode, similar to my mother. So therefore, he sent her back. But then, because she had a sinful desire to kill Krishna, so because of the intense pain that was caused to her at death, that was the price she had to pay to purify her heart of all the sinful desire that she had. So just see, Krishna put her in tremendous pain for those few moments. But with that pain, he completely purified her. And then what was left in her? Only the sentiment of a mother. So Krishna sees the good in everybody. Our nature is that we see the bad in everybody. But Krishna sees the good in everyone, and he only sees that, and he promoted Putana to the spiritual world. So this is the glory of Krishna. So even if a Rakshasa, an Asura, even has some good desire towards Krishna, Krishna is only looking for an excuse. So it is not a fact that Krishna is partial to the Devatas and actually he is cruel to those who are not his devotees. Krishna is impartial to everyone, but those who want to become his devotees, Krishna says, to whatever extent, even if this much extent you want to become my devotee, I will reciprocate. Therefore, we should also try to reciprocate with Krishna more and more, as much as we can. And the best way for reciprocating with Krishna is through the medium of his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. We will now have darshan and wonderful kirtan. So please.
Because of Sukriti, we come into Krishna consciousness. And in today's lecture, there is one point that says that anyone can become my devotee. It's a question of reciprocation. That's what Lord Krishna says. Now, isn't it a vicious circle? To become a devotee, you need Sukriti. But at the same time, you have your past karma. And then, for example, there must be a person who's not taking Krishna consciousness because of his past karma. So that adds on and adds on and adds on, and he'll never become a devotee. So,
wanting to become devotee, last time I was giving the example of the fan. How when you switch off the fan stops, but not immediately. It takes time. So, wanting to come to Krishna consciousness, having the desire, is like switching it off. So depending on your sukriti, depending on your karma, the stock of bad karma that you have and the stock of good sukriti that you have to come to Krishna consciousness, it will depend how long the fan takes to come to a stop, but it will. So both these things are important. So you have to have the intense desire. And there is no material impediment in your prosecuting Krishna consciousness. You are coming to Krishna consciousness after many lifetimes. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te mohadvandu nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. So anyone who is engaging in the devotional service of the Lord with great determination is to be understood to be in that position only after many lifetimes of cultivating Sukriti and when all the sinful reactions in his heart have been destroyed. So the process of destroying all those sinful reactions and the process of performing more and more devotional service till you come to that platform of Dridhavrata takes many lives. So we have to begin. So by the process of beginning your Krishna consciousness with your desire, eventually your lack of Sukriti or your abundance of sinful reactions may be an obstacle. But it cannot stop you. So if your desire is strong enough, eventually by rendering devotional service, you will burn up to the root all the sinful reactions. And therefore you will be able to overcome all your material impediments, even if they have originated from previous lives.
The constitutional position of the soul is to serve the Lord. Now,
Hare Krishna.
because of certain material impediments, or because you are situated in some kind of, an environment, you might not be able to follow Krishna consciousness. Because the soul is covered by Maya or illusion. So then how does one become Krishna conscious? Because there are so many people all around you see that they are not at all Krishna conscious. So eventually they will become in some lifetime or the other. But
if somebody's circumstances are such that they are not permitting that person to come to the association of devotees much, we should understand that is that person's lack of proper sukriti. But at the same time, there is still no impediment. Where there is a will, there is a way. So if that person wants to chant, he can find out some way to chant. So there is always a way. And then after prosecuting it in as best a way as possible in his difficult circumstances, he or she should have faith that Krishna will make available opportunities to me to serve him in a more complete way as time goes by. So the devotee doesn't take it as lack of sukriti. The devotee accepts this as Krishna's mercy. That this is Krishna's test. Krishna wants to make me more sincere.